iPad letterers, it's so nice to see you. In today's Plan With Me video, we are going to create a digital bullet journal spread for the month of July. I'm going to be using my current favorite journaling app, which is Zinnia, but for this spread, you don't actually need Zinnia. We are going to be using mostly Procreate, so if you don't have the app, it's not a problem. You can easily use the spreads in other journaling apps such as GoodNotes, Notablity, or even Keynote on your iPad. In the first part of the video, I will do a flip through of last month's journal to see what it ended up looking like, and also to give you a little bit of an update of what's been happening in the world of iPad lettering. And then in the second part, we are going to set up the new journal spread for July. I'm also going to show you one of the brand new Zinnia features, which doesn't look like that much at first glance, but you really want to see it because it's actually super useful and it will totally take your journal designs to the next level. Let's jump right in and let's do a little bit of a recap for June. The monthly overview page that you can see here is unfortunately quite empty. It has only got a few birthdays that I've ended up adding here. And now next up we have the weekly spread, and I actually ended up not liking this layout so much. It looks very cute, but it was not that practical. I don't tend to do any iPad lettering related things in those times, so it felt like all the time slots that I've had here were a little bit empty. So for the second week of June, I ended up using this layout and I liked it much better. So it's got 4 slots every day that I can use. So this ended up being quite useful, but I think we can still improve this a little bit. There's still a few things I didn't like so much, especially the weekends. I tend to do a lot more iPad lettering related things on the weekend. So I think I'm going to make another tweak to the spread for the month of July. Other than that, I thought it worked really nice. I really like having the quote here, and then here I can have some tasks and then I can tick them off, and that worked really nicely. All right, and now let's also look at the habit tracker. So this has actually worked quite well. You see my eating was not too bad. There's a bit of a pattern here. You can spot the red ones. So Fridays is usually when we like to relax and have a bit of a wine, and obviously that's when I don't stick to my eating plan. But other than that, it's been going really well. And the same with my training, and this is mainly because I haven't been too strict about it. So if you remember from last week where I said that I mark this as green even if I just go for a walk outside, and that still counts. So this is why I've got a lot of green marks here. And then with the gratitude tracker, I actually didn't end up using it as much as I thought. I thought this was going to be a given and I was just going to do it every day, no problems. But you can see I wasn't very consistent with it. So this is definitely something I need to pick up again a little bit more. And then the mood tracker, and I feel this is quite related to my gratitude journal tracker. You can see here I had a few bad days in a row, and there's really a correlation between tracking my mood and doing my gratitude journal. And then another thing I ended up doing was the artwork of the month, and this is something I'm going to be doing every month now. I thought this was super useful, so I went back and had a look through all the artworks I've created during the month of June, and then selected the one that I was most proud of. And the artwork I ended up selecting was the one where I tried to replicate a writing in the sand effect. So I went through this and I wrote down what I really liked about it, and then also maybe something I could think about improving for the next time. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what this looks like. I created this in Procreate, and what I really like about it is that I taught myself a new technique. I figured out how to create this lettering effect and make it look as if it was written in the sand, and I was quite pleased about this. Also, let me know in the comments if you would like me to do a tutorial of how I did this, and then I'm happy to make another tutorial for you and show you exactly how you can do this. It was actually a lot of fun and I really enjoyed figuring this out. And then another page I added after I set up the journal was a review for the month. I usually do this every year, but I think I'm going to start doing this every month as well, just to go through the highlights, some of the challenges I had, and then also some actions for July. And the highlight for June was definitely the iPad Letter Together challenge. I'm having so much fun with it. It's been amazing. Also the feedback I got from all of you, how you've jumped in, how you've contributed to the challenge. It's been so amazing. So thank you so much for doing this with me. Also really the accountability, that's what really made all the difference for me. I've gone back to almost like when I started with iPad lettering, and I really sat down every night practicing my lettering, and then coming up with new and fun ways of how to create those lettering pieces has been an absolute highlight. And then some of the challenges I had last month was pretty much staying up too late too many times. And then I also felt I wasn't always focused enough, but that's mainly because I was playing Animal Crossing a little bit too much. And so one of the actions that I've written down for next month is to actually plan relaxation time to be less distracted, but also to not feel guilty if I sit there and play Animal Crossing. I really feel playing Animal Crossing has actually made me very relaxed, and I've enjoyed the game so much. So I'm going to plan this in so I don't have to feel guilty, but then I also get all the things done that I want to get done. Now let's get into July and let's start planning the next month. So we're going to set up a brand new journal. So we're tapping on the plus. We're starting with a basic page and also a blank page start. And then we're going to go back and we're going to create the cover for the journal first. And so for the cover, I was thinking it would be really cute to use one of my paintings that I've made in Procreate. So the only thing I'm going to do here is actually write the word July on it. So we're going to create a new layer. And then what I've done as well, I've actually made lots of different stamps with words so I can reuse them, and I've got a July one here already. So now let's choose black, and then we've got July just like that. It feels a little bit like cheating, but this makes it so much faster creating the journal. And now you can see that the black on the background might look a little bit too harsh. So now what we can do is try some different blend modes. So we can go in here and then maybe choose the overlay blend mode, and you can see now how the color really adjusts based on the background. So I think this looks quite nice. So now let's export this as a JPEG, and now we can set the cover as that, and then we are also going to rename this, and this is our cover page done. So this looks pretty good. And the theme we're going to use for this month's spread, which is also going to be the theme for the iPad Letter Together challenge for July, is going to be summer fun. So this is going to be really nice because then you have your planner and you have your lettering challenge, and you can use the same theme. You can even use some of the lettering pieces to decorate your journals. So I think this will be a very, very nice combination. And then what I thought would be very nice as well is actually using a watercolor background paper. And this is where the new feature of Zinnia comes in, and I'm going to show you how this works. So there is a set of papers here, and then we have this watercolor background here. I've tried this before and I didn't like it so much because it feels quite intense, and then it's also hard to place additional elements on this page. But let me show you what we can do now. I'm just going to resize it so that it covers the whole page. And now you can see here at the bottom there is a new button here, and this lets you change the opacity of all the elements that you're putting into Zinnia. This is so cool. I know it doesn't sound like it's a lot, but you can actually create really, really cool effect with this. So now let's change the opacity. We still want that watercolor a little bit. I think having it in the middle here is actually very nice. So we've still got a subtle watercolor paper look. And then we're going to lock this. And then also for this month's spread, we are actually going to create a template that we can reuse for all the pages as well. So now we're going to go back to Procreate, and we are going to create some elements that we can place on this page, which will then form the base of our template. So now we're going back to Procreate. And now what we're going to do is duplicate this artwork. We want to keep the original one, but with this one here now we can modify this a little bit. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of our lettering. We don't need this. And you can see now here as well how I've placed different elements on different layers. But now I can go back and I can pick certain elements out of this page and then create something new from it. Isn't that amazing? So I'm going to turn off some of the layers that I don't want. So now we've got this part here, which is a bit of a problem, but we can smudge this out. So this is not too bad. And then the brush we are going to use is the Ultimate Edge brush. This is part of the Galaxy brush set. And really what we're trying to do here is fade this out. So there's no harsh edge here anymore, and then make it look nice on our journal page. And now it's looking pretty good. So now all you have to do is turn off that background and export it as PNG and save it to your photos. And then we're going back to Zinnia, and now we can import this and see what it looks like. So grab the picture from your photos and then place it on the page, and we can just make it go a little bit outside so it fits here in the corner, and it looks pretty nice. So now I feel there needs to be something up here as well. So let's go back to Procreate and see how we can do that. And then let's turn on that sky layer here. Let's see if we can use this. So I'm going to place it here in the corner, and then again using the smudging tool to smudge this out and export it as a PNG and save it to your photos. And then we're going back to Zinnia again, and we can import this now as well. So now this is our template done. So what we want to do next is duplicate this. And this is what you want to do for all the pages. So you can duplicate this as many times as you need to create all your planner spreads. So on the first page, again, we are going to do the monthly spread. This looks very similar to the one that you can grab from Zinnia as well. The only difference is that I've ended up adding a task list here. I find this handy for tasks that need to be done every month, and the previous template didn't have it. This looks pretty good. So now let's create a header here for July as well. We're going to go back to Procreate again, and I've already got my stamps here. So we're going to grab the July stamp again, and we're going to put this on the page. This is so nice and easy. And I actually want this to be white and then have a little bit of a shadow, because I think it would look nice on my planner page. So now we're going to duplicate the layer, and then we're going to turn off the background color just so that you can see what the color of this looks like. So we're going to alpha lock this layer so we can fill it with white. And then the bottom layer, we're just ever so slightly going to move to the bottom right to create this shadow. And then we are going to decrease the opacity so it becomes gray, and it'll also be a little bit see-through, which is going to be nice on our planner page. And this looks pretty good. So now what you want to do here as well is actually resize the canvas. So we can go to canvas, crop and resize, and then just make it as big as the finished header is going to be, so it doesn't end up having a massive boundary on your Zinnia page. And then we can put it into Zinnia. This is super easy, and you can see here this is very fast as well. It doesn't take very long to do this. And then I wanted to have some other little embellishments on the page, so I went back to Procreate, and then I've got this selection of abstract shapes that I've made for myself, and it's got these leaves, so I'm going to use them here. And then let's choose some of the colors that we've already used for the rest of our journal pages, and this looks good now. So we can turn off the background color and then export this again as PNG, and now we can put it into Zinnia as well. And this just adds just this little touch, and I think it's very cute. And then we can put one down here as well. And then of course we need to add all the dates on this page as well. So I'm going to use these colors and a highlighter tool to create the blobs for the month. And July actually starts on a Wednesday, so we're going to start here. So I'm just going to randomly paint those blobs on the page, and then these will be the background for the numbers. And this is our monthly overview page done. Now let's also create a weekly spread. I've created this template using the Affinity Designer app on the iPad. Definitely let me know if you're interested in learning how to create these templates using Affinity Designer. I'm more than happy to show this as well if you're curious to find out. And you'll see here that the template is slightly different. I've used a similar approach to what I've done last month, but then the adjustments I've made is that there's only 3 slots now on the work days. So I really don't want to overstretch myself too much by planning too much and then not being able to do it. So I think the 3 slots will work really well. But then on the weekend, I added 5 slots so I can do 5 things, and hopefully I'll be able to schedule in a lot more relaxation time as well. And then also here at the bottom, there is this space here where I can record all my tasks. I think this spread is going to work really well for July. And now the next thing we want to do is setting up the habits. So I'm going to duplicate the template first, and now let's create the habit tracker. I've created a heading for this as well using Procreate, and then I really like the little mini calendars, so I'm going to add them as well. So we're going to go to the templates, and then in the monthly planners there are these mini templates here we can use, and then we're going to place it here. So one of the things you'll notice with the watercolor background, we painted out the label of the calendar using the white marker. So now when we do that, you'll see that it's not going to look very nice because the watercolor paper is not 100% white, so it kind of looks a little bit weird like that. But I'm going to show you a really cool trick about how we can fix this. So what we're going to do is make it a feature. Sometimes if things don't look as nice as you want, it looks like a mistake, but instead of keeping this mistake, we're going to make a feature. So we're going to create this rectangle here like this, and then washi tape to the rescue. So now what we're going to do is select one of the washi tapes and then just select this simple grey washi tape, and now we can place it on top here. And now you ask, so why did you create the white background before you put the washi tape on? And this is a very good question, because remember how we've got this new opacity slider now? This is so cool. So now what we can do is change the opacity ever so slightly. So now you'll see how that white sort of comes through, and then the washi tape doesn't look so intense. So it creates this really, really cool look, and it feels like you've painted this on top of the watercolor paper. I'm so happy about this, and this really makes a huge difference in the design of the tracker pages. All right, so now we are going to add a label to this. I'm going to use the text tool, and the first one is going to be tracking my eating habits. So we're going to type eating and then place it here. Maybe let's put it in the middle, and it looks good. So now what we're going to do is group these elements so that we can copy and paste them, and then we're going to make 2 more habit trackers for training, and then I also want to make one for the iPad to get it challenge as well. And this is our habit tracker done already. You can see this was super fast and easy to create, and we've been able to use one of the new features of Zinnia as well. And then I'm going to create just one more page, and this is going to be for our artwork of the month. We can just add our header here. So this is very motivating for me to create a beautiful artwork that kind of matches this layout as well. So let's see what we can come up with. Hopefully you found this useful. I also have a very in-depth Zinnia tutorial where I'm showing all the features that Zinnia has. It's really my favorite app at the moment. I love using it so much. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell icon to get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.